I always find it strange how two people can experience and view a place in completely different ways.
Jack Fuller was born into money, and at the age of 20 he moved to Brightling in East Sussex after inheriting land and a fortune from his uncle Rose. At the age of 22, Fuller became the Member of Parliament for Southampton. Fuller lost his seat after a vicious row over his support for slavery. This was the time when he began to focus more on his estate and his love of combining art and science.
I moved down from Glasgow to Sussex when I was 9 years old, and that would be in 2003. I first saw the Follies when my granddad was driving me through Brightling, and I remember looking at them and just asking him what these strange buildings were.
Jack Fuller was affectionately known as Mad Jack by local residents who did not understand his fascination with useless buildings. A folly is a building with no purpose other than decoration. The first of Jack's 6 follies was the summer house. Jack was a keen gambler, and he entered into a wager that he could see the spire of Dallington Church from his window. Upon realising that he was mistaken, he quickly constructed the Sugarloaf to very effectively mimic the church spire.
I looked out of my girlfriend's window and I saw this strange building in the distance, and I asked her, what is this strange building? And she replied that it was the Sugarloaf. The first time I went, I remember I took my girlfriend there and I gave her a love letter.
The Rotunda Temple was built to hold artwork, most notably paintings commissioned from J.M.W. Turner. Jack was a philanthropist, and during an economic depression he hired hundreds of local labourers to build a huge wall around his estate. However, the wall did not stop trespassers.
We all thought the temple was full of art, and I was a bit shocked to find out that there was none. All I found when I first went in was graffiti left from the Canadian Air Force that was stationed on the estate during the Second World War.
The temple is the motif for the internationally renowned Brightling Horse Trials, which brings in competitors and spectators from all walks of life. The Hermit's Watchtower was built so that Jack could survey his land and have views of the sea.
The tower was my special place. I used to go there when I was feeling a bit down or I had to clear my mind. As you go up the stairs, on the right-hand side, my girlfriend's initials are still there. Mine, well, are not there anymore. When I was feeling alone, I would go to the top of the tower, I would lie down, I would stare through the open roof. I'd wait for nightfall, and then I would look at all the stars. Yeah, I would wonder what my place on this earth is, why I was here. And I would also wonder why the Follies are here. And, you know, it dawned on me that the Follies aligned almost with the stars. And it feels like some of them are there to replicate Orion's belt. Others are there to, you know, to be individual stars, like the observatory would be Betelgeuse. I've heard some people argue that the observatory is not a folly as it serves a purpose, but don't all the follies serve a purpose? They serve our local history, our culture. When I first came to Sussex from Glasgow, I was such an outsider. People had no idea what I was saying, and I had to get something to point me in the right direction.
The obelisk dominates the landscape and is the second highest point in Sussex.
I remember looking up at the needle and realising that it pierces the vast, uninterrupted sky.
Jack Fuller commissioned the pyramid to be his mausoleum 24 years before his death. This immense structure draws attention away from the Thomas à Becket Church, in whose graveyard it stands.
I've heard that Jack was buried in the pyramid sitting up in his armchair, with a glass of claret and a roast chicken dinner in front of him. The Follies are all focal points, but don't let them fool you. Their place in the landscape belies their size and their distance. In the beginning I was hungry to consume them, and I had rushed to each one in turn. But a short distance turned into a mile, a run into a trek. At last, I grew to love the surroundings and adopted the Follies as guides rather than destinations.
Jack Fuller was respected by many as a squire who, at a time of extreme poverty, when soldiers were returning from the Napoleonic War, did what he could to provide employment and prevent revolution. He was ridiculed by others for his views on slavery and his obsession with erecting follies while people were going hungry.
Fuller's Follies are an important part of my life and have helped me to find my place. I know many people have followed this path before I have, and I love nothing better than bringing new people to experience them and to fall in love like I did.